Around mid 2020, beneath
Oh,
a
that's a
Pink
little loud.
Floyd
That's a little
Instagram
loud.
post, a user named KaikeLimar22 left a comment that most people probably would have dismissed as a bot spam post and scrolled
How
past
does that
without
sound, chat? How
thinking
does it
much of
sound?
it. It read, "Help me.
Wait, what? Hold on. Give me a second. We sound good. We sound good, chat.
I'm an artist. I'm in trouble. I discovered a cannibalism restaurant here in Brazil. Now there's an agency of espionage torturing me.
Hold on, hold on.
This
I just
it
missed
read,
everything.
probably would have dismissed as a bot spam. KLimar22 left a comment that most people probably would have dismissed as a bot spam post and scrolled past without thinking much of it. It read, "Help me. I'm an artist. I'm in trouble. I discovered a cannibalism restaurant here in Brazil. Now there's an agency of espionage torturing me.
And we're saying that people are just skipping by that.
My
They're not even
parents were
acknowledging it.
kidnapped. Can you save me? Please, I'm suffering." But underneath this desperate post, he included his full legal name, contact number, complete address, and the location of the said cannibalism restaurant, along with its email and a link to its website. On its
Okay.
own, something like this would be easy to dismiss as a troll.
This is
or
already
a
pretty
cheap
eerie.
stunt
I'm
to
not gonna
grab
lie.
people's
This is already
attention.
like
But when
throw
other
me
users visited
off.
the profile, the situation became a lot harder to brush off. His account was filled with nearly identical posts, all repeating the same accusation and begging strangers to help him before it was too late. And in some of them, he even uploaded legal documents belonging to himself and his parents as a desperate attempt to prove that the people in the story were real. From there, the trail spread beyond Instagram.
Did his parents get eaten?
His
I'm not
Facebook
really like
account and X profile were filled with
acknowledging
the
it.
same desperate pleas going back as far as 2018. And according to people who had been following his situation, he had also been directly messaging strangers with the same request for help for almost 2 years. Eventually, some users also found an art account connected to him, where he often posted dark and disturbing drawings with captions that use phrases like "destroy fascism" and "socialism is fascism," along with frequent references to the same cannibal restaurant. Because of this, one of the first theories many people landed on was that the entire thing was an ARG attempt gone too far. An ARG, or
What did it say? Hold on. Back. Cannibal Cannibalism restaurant Brazil. Weird ARG found on Instagram. Hey, I just found this extremely strange ARG. I'm not even sure it is an ARG, which is strange. I've not investigated it, but it looks extremely strange already. It's mentioned cannibalism in a restaurant. This seems AI because it says strange like 3 times already. Strange. Yeah, see. Okay, and it dropped the Instagram link. This is where I have found it. While I'm confidential, the post will be buried. I need help figuring out what the hell this account is. It's active enough that it posts comments on big accounts, and that's how I spotted it.
landed on was that the entire thing was an ARG attempt gone too far. An ARG, or alternate reality game, is basically a fictional story told through real world platforms, where creators use social media accounts and online profiles as pieces of the narrative. So, from this angle, Kaike's post could be read as a
Can you save me, please? I'm suffering. My name Kake Rocha Lima.
horror
We
project
already
that
went through
began
this.
with his art and then slowly expanded into something much harder to separate from reality. But that theory had one major problem. If this was a performance, it was an incredibly strange one. There was no clear puzzle to solve and no satisfying reveal waiting at the end. Instead, it was just Kaike repeating the same accusation with a level of commitment
So they tried calling him, but he ain't join.
that made it feel like
He's basically screaming for help, but he's not answering.
something he genuinely believed was happening to him. And that left one uncomfortable possibility open. What if he wasn't trying to create a horror story at all? What if he actually believed every word of it? As strange as the phrase cannibalism restaurant sounds, the idea isn't completely unheard of in Brazil.
A fucking ad. Are we serious? I thought I had an ad blocker. I swear.
Because just 8 years earlier in 2012, three people were arrested
What?
in
Oh, it's probably on
Guarulhos,
my
the
other account. I'm not
Brazilian
gonna lie.
state of Pernambuco, after the police accused them of murdering at least two women, consuming parts of their bodies, and using the rest to make stuffed meat pies that were sold to unsuspecting customers.
What?
And what made this case even more disturbing was how ordinary the operation looked from the outside. According to the police, the pies were sold even to schools and hospitals. Now, on its own, this case
They just look like they would do that type of shit. They all could just look like they would do that shit. Like, what the fuck is
had
the
no
problem?
apparent connection to Kaike's story, but it did make Kaike's claim feel slightly less impossible than it first sounded. The problem was that beyond the accusation itself, he never provided anything that actually proved what he was saying. And when people tried to approach him directly for more information, his answers didn't make the story any clearer. For instance, when a Reddit user DM'd him and asked about the supposed espionage, all he got back
I see. Can you tell me more about those doings espionage on you?
were fragmented
Translated it.
responses like, They're torturing me. It's an evil organization.
What the fuck
It's
is he
because
talking about?
they're evil. He sounded terrified, but every attempt to get a clear explanation out of him
He's like
circled back to
some
the same handful of
J-
words. And that's what
JE
made
shit,
the
bro.
website link he had been attaching to his public posts and comments this whole time so important. Out of everything he flooded the internet with, it was the one piece of information that could actually be checked. But when users followed the link, it led to the website of a hospice and rehabilitation center. When
Don't tell me that they're getting the mystery meat from over here at the hospital. That's fucked up.
entered into Google Maps, it takes you to a medical facility called Baramed Support House. The building itself looked completely ordinary. Nothing about it pointed toward the kind of horror Kaike was describing. Even the Google reviews described it like any other care facility, with patients and families praising the staff for their attention and support. And these details changed the entire shape of the mystery. Maybe Kaike wasn't exactly lying. Perhaps he had been a patient in this medical center at some point, and because of some kind of severe paranoid psychosis, he had come to believe that the doctors and caregivers
Yeah,
were
maybe he's just
not
schizo.
treating people but harming them. It would explain why his story never produced any solid evidence, while also explaining why he seemed so genuinely terrified.
But what could it make him think that? I mean, I guess when you're schizo, anything could happen.
Every time he repeated it.
Anything
But
go around
as
in your brain.
believable as this theory sounds, it has one major problem. Nowhere on Baramed's website did it describe itself as a psychiatric facility or somewhere that treats severe psychological disorders. Their service seems to be directed mainly toward elderly patients. This makes it less likely for Kaike to be a patient at this medical center. But after spending more time with the details of this case, I started to notice something that I haven't seen anyone else
Chat, would
do.
y'all ever go to Brazil?
Kaike's
Brazil looks
posts
so
always
beautiful,
mention
but
two
I know
things
it's kind of
together,
like
the cannibalism
dangerous.
restaurant and the claim that his parents had been kidnapped. And in some of his most desperate uploads, he posts his mother's government-issued identity card as proof that she was a real person. At first, that seems like a strange thing to prove. Nobody was questioning whether his mother existed. But Baramed is a continuing care facility. It's the kind of place where families admit elderly relatives for long-term treatment. And if Kaike's parents had been placed there by other
So it's basically like old folks home or like
family members and he didn't understand or didn't accept that decision,
What do you even
then
call it?
everything about his story starts to look different. In his mind, his parents hadn't been admitted for medical care, they had been taken against their will, and the people looking after them weren't doctors, but something far worse. It would explain why he posted the same address hundreds of times and couldn't give a clear answer when people reached out to him. And it would explain
what would happen if we called that number right now?
posting his mother's identity card for the world to see. He believed someone had taken her, and no one around him was doing anything about it. Either way, both theories still rely on the same foundation, that Kaike was mentally ill and that his paranoia had gotten severe enough to twist a normal care facility into something horrifying inside his own head. Unfortunately, there is no way to confirm any of this, because at some point after the story started gaining attention online, all of Kaike's accounts went dark. It's possible that the people around him or someone who knew him eventually stepped in and got him the help he needed. But until Kaike himself resurfaces or someone who knew him comes forward with an answer, this is where the case stays. On April 1st, 2009, a YouTube channel
Okay, so we're just gonna like pass by that and act like nothing happened. Hold on, posting a tweet right now, chat. Give me a second. Sorry about that.
named Bobby Joe,
Joe
Blythe
Blythe.
007 uploaded a strange video titled Jesus Taught Me. It was old, blurry footage that was clearly transferred from a VHS tape and recorded in an entirely different era.
Was taken on 13 December 1984,
Dad,
about 7 p.m.
At first, it
they had cameras back then?
didn't get much
Oh.
attention and sat on the channel with almost no views for weeks. But when it finally caught the attention of viewers on martial arts forums, it quickly became one of the most disturbing pieces of footage to ever surface on the internet. The video opened inside a small karate dojo in Dumfries, Virginia, where a thin, soft-spoken man had apparently walked in off the street and told the people inside that he'd been trained in martial arts by Jesus Christ himself.
This guy, like I say, he's a priest. He's a 10th degree red belt. And who'd you say promoted you to 10th degree red belt? Jesus did.
So there's like certain degrees. I thought it was just went by color coordinated, like brown, orange, yellow, purple, black.
Now, a claim like that obviously suggested the man may not have
White.
been in a normal state of mind, but he never came across as aggressive. In fact, he was even clear that he didn't want to hurt anyone and that he only intended to demonstrate what he had learned.
Don't tell me they start kicking his ass. Don't tell me they start jumping his shit.
Demonstrate on him.
Well, I won't demonstrate on him. I will demonstrate around him.
The other two men in the
What does that
frame were
mean?
the owner of the dojo and one of his students. Both were Marines. And once the man finished explaining himself, the owner told the student to face him. Despite the man repeatedly making it clear that he only wanted to demonstrate, the interaction turned violent almost immediately. And even as he tried to back away, the student continued attacking him while the owner watched and let it happen.
Don't do that anymore.
That's how I look when I'm playing Mortal Kombat, bro. Just straight button mashing. Holy shit. What the fuck is he
No,
doing?
Just don't do that. Good. I'm not a fighter.
The situation continued
Okay,
to
why
escalate
claim to be
until the
fine?
man
What
was
the fuck?
badly hurt and lying almost unresponsive on the floor, while the owner told the others to drag him out. The video then cut to the camera focusing on the floor, where a trail of blood led toward the exit of the dojo. And according to the description beneath the video, the man was later found by police officers inside a dumpster behind the building, strongly
They done. I done predicted it. They ended up jumping his shit.
insinuating that he had been killed. But neither the footage nor the
Killed?
description made it entirely clear whether the man had actually survived what had happened to him or not. And that was what horrified everyone who came across the video. So once martial arts forums got a hold of the clip, it spread fast, and people started trying to figure out where it had come from. The first major clue was the username of the channel itself, which
Bobby Joe
led viewers
Blythe,
directly to
then.
Bobby Joe Blythe, a former U.S. Marine and the same man who appeared to be giving orders in the video. As for the dojo, it had been a storefront in a shopping center in Dumfries, Virginia. By the time the video appeared online, the place had already been shut down for years.
Okay, that was
These
posted in 1984. He was a retired veteran.
details
Nah, I'm not even gonna
made
try.
the
I'm not even.
entire
I'm
situation
sound
more
stupid.
difficult to
He might have
explain,
been like
because
40 in that
if this
video.
footage actually
So
showed a brutal
1984,
assault, why
2009.
would Bobby be the one to upload it to YouTube
He'll probably be
decades
like
later. Maybe in his mind, what happened in that
70, I
room
wanna
wasn't a crime
say.
at all. When
60
viewers
something?
Went through the rest of his
70?
channel, the videos gave a much clearer sense of the kind of authority he believed in.
Imagine being able
Another
to build
fucking
an
ad, bro. I
army
need to get this shit.
just by thinking
I have it on my other account.
Meet Base 40.
We're getting cooked right now, chat.
Nobody in our domain. We, black belts, this is our place. We can do what we want anytime we feel like.
He said as the coach from Cobra Kai, Creed.
Feel free as anybody
What's his
can be
name?
in this world.
Kreese.
And in your place,
That's literally him.
this is your dojo
Cobra Kai was made about him.
on your territory. We can do anything we want. Just do it, Ken. So, we're liberal. If they come through that door, it's open season.
What the fuck?
And if
Yeah,
this were
he-
the kind of violent culture Bobby had
he
built
kinda
inside
wicked.
his dojo, it would explain how a badly wounded man could be dragged out the back door without anyone in the room treating it like something that needed to be reported. Naturally, viewers began contacting local authorities and sending them the footage, believing they had uncovered evidence of a crime that had somehow gone unnoticed for decades. But just days later, Captain Ronald Mackey of the Dumfries Police Department released a statement that seemed to shut the entire mystery down. According to him, the victim had survived the attack and had been interviewed by police after the incident. On paper, that should have been the end of it. Except, the explanation started falling apart as soon as more details came out. Another official who was a retired police detective named Chuck Feldbush also claimed the man survived, but his account made the investigation sound far less thorough than the department's
Come on, what
statement
is he gonna say?
implied.
What is he gonna say?
Officer Chuck said he personally knew both Bobby and the victim, describing the man as a homeless guy who lived in the woods near the dojo. In his own words, "You could tell he had been beaten severely, but he wasn't very cooperative and didn't want to pursue charges."
Okay.
But if that was the entire basis for closing the matter,
mean, he
it
asked
also
for
meant
it,
that
but
the police never
he's trying to
really
beat him
conducted
to
a
a pulp.
proper inquiry into what happened inside that dojo. More importantly, it made the official claim that the victim survived almost impossible to verify. Because even if the attack didn't kill him immediately, it's still possible that a severely beaten, mentally unstable homeless man could have easily died days later from
Yeah.
untreated injuries without anyone
If
noticing.
he was
And
homeless,
since none of the
he can't
officers
get any
involved could
healthcare.
even remember his name, there is no way to trace where
just
he went
cooked,
after
bro.
that. Searching for hospital records and missing person reports from the area doesn't bring up any matches. And with no more leads to follow, people online started looking deeper into Bobby's background instead. According to several sources, Bobby's dojo may have attracted
Why he got
more than
skinny-ass
ordinary
legs?
martial arts students. His background as a former Marine reportedly brought in bodyguards, other Marines, and possibly even local police officers. If that's true, it could explain two things at once. why the response from the local authorities felt so strangely muted, and why Bobby felt confident enough to post the video publicly in the first place. And if both of those things are true, they point to a simple but uncomfortable possibility that the case didn't go anywhere because the people responsible for investigating it were too close to the people involved. But that is where the facts end and speculation begins. There is no direct evidence proving that local officials deliberately buried this, and nothing about the case directly indicates that Bobby was protected. That said, without the victim ever being clearly identified, it's impossible to prove or disprove any of these theories. Which is also why, despite
That's actually so
thousands of
fucking
people
wicked.
online trying to dig through the footage from every possible angle, there has been no meaningful development to the case over the 2 decades since the footage first surfaced.
But what was this guy's problem? Like, he said God taught him, but he wasn't even trying to defend himself. But still, what's the... Oh no,
leaving
bro.
the entire mystery trapped between 2 possibilities.
Might just be tweaking.
Either the unnamed victim survived one of the most brutal assaults ever posted to YouTube, then vanished back into a life where no one could find him, or the video really did capture the final moments of an unidentified man while the people who could have helped him decided to look the other way. On June 16th, 2016, a
Holy shit, what the fuck was that?
security guard in Utah picked up something on an old AM radio that would go on to be one of the creepiest pieces of audio in
Westinghouse
recent internet
translator.
history. The guard's name was Cody Erickson, and at the time he had been working a swing shift at a bank management building somewhere in Utah. Inside the security office was an old AM/FM radio that belonged to his supervisor. And since Cody had already finished his tasks for the night and was just waiting for the next guard to come in, he started turning through the AM stations to
It was
pass
like
the time.
some
Most of what
fucking
came through was exactly what you'd expect from an old
Slenderman
radio late
shit.
at night.
This is some shit you see in
Right,
Slenderman.
Then, somewhere between a sports station on one side and an old music station on the other, Cody heard a woman crying.
Fuck no, I'm out of there. I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm fucking out of there.
He tried adjusting the dial multiple times, hoping to pull the signal in more clearly. But each time he moved it, the broadcast either faded into static or got buried underneath one of the nearby stations. Still, what little came through was disturbing enough that he pulled out his phone and started recording. In the audio, the woman sounded like she was pleading with someone to leave her alone, and at one point, she mentioned 2 children.
This is a fucking La Llorona. He done found the actual footage or audio of La Llorona, bro. I'm not fucking lying either.
The signal continued wavering in and out throughout the recording, with her voice rising and disappearing beneath the noise.
So I guess Jake is the suspect in this place.
And then, right at the end, the static cleared just long enough for another voice to
I'm
come
getting
through
chills.
and
I'm
say
not fucking
something
lying.
that nobody has ever been able to agree on. To most
Okay.
people who heard it, the words sounded like "rip her apart."
Oh fuck no.
After this,
I heard
the
that. I
broadcast
fucking
cut
heard that. I
completely.
heard it.
Cody later checked that same stretch of the dial twice a night over the following days, hoping to hear it again, but the voice never returned. So, left with a recording he couldn't explain,
Ooh,
he
that's
uploaded
fucking
it to
creepy.
YouTube, hoping someone online might be able to figure out where it had come
I
from.
peeped you were live
The
yesterday, but you were
first
playing
and
soccer.
Probably the most comforting theory that the internet.
Yeah,
came up
I was
with
live
is that
yesterday.
The recording was just a scripted performance.
My bad, bro.
The
I didn't even see
reason
that.
is that AM radio isn't as predictable as FM.
You ready to get
Depending on
scared,
where you
XJs?
are and how late you're listening, the dial can pick up all sorts of broadcasts, including old horror dramas and detective shows. So, according to this theory, Cody could have simply tuned into the middle of a fictional scene, and the crying woman was just an actress, while the distorted signal made the performance.
So on radios like that, like an old ass radio like that, it's still picking up like new audio, like audio every day. And if so, I wonder where it could have gotten from. Was she on the phone with someone, record or like on the phone, like trying to get help from someone, or was she just like recording? I don't fucking know.
Sound a little too real. Some other users also suggested that it could have been a drive-in movie theater leaking its audio into the radio. For
Oh,
those
that's
who don't
true.
know,
I
outdoor
have been to a
theaters
drive-in
often
movie theater
transmit
like that.
film audio over short-range radio, so viewers can listen through their car speakers, and that signal can occasionally bleed onto nearby frequencies, which would mean what Cody heard was nothing more than the climax of some horror film leaking out of a transmitter somewhere down the road. But while both of those explanations make sense on the surface, they run into two problems. First, over the years, no one has been able to identify any piece of media, including audiobooks, films, radio shows, and horror dramas, that cleanly matches the phrases heard in the broadcast. And second, most modern drive-in theaters tell customers to tune into an FM frequency, not the AM band Cody was listening on. So, while a movie or radio drama is probably the easiest explanation to accept, it still doesn't
That's not a fucking drive-in movie theater. That's just some like horror shit.
account for why the source has never been identified. But probably the biggest reason people struggle to believe the performance theory was that
He
the
was
crying
like, he
didn't sound
definitely
staged.
got a
It didn't
clue
have
onto
the rhythm
something.
of an actor waiting for a line, or the clean emotional arc of a scene written to build tension. It sounded broken and uneven, like someone who was struggling to hold themselves together. And this led one Reddit user to suggest a very different theory. According to them, the recording may have come from a call-in radio show, possibly one where distressed callers reached out to a church or counselor for help, and the woman might have been crying while
If that's the
describing
case, that's
something
even fucking
terrible
worse.
that
That's even
happened
more
to her in the
scarier.
past. This would also explain how the final line might have been misheard. Instead of "rip her apart," the voice might have actually said 4 years apart, which would fit much more naturally into a conversation about grief or family trauma. But
Okay.
without the name of the original program, there's no way to verify this theory either, leaving the mystery exactly where it's
Okay, I see that mosquito flying around in here.
Unfortunately, there's a much
I'm
more
getting
chilling
bit.
possibility of what the audio could have been. Maybe Cody was listening to something that was never meant to be broadcast. Some users pointed out that the audio could have been a leaked signal from a baby monitor nearby. Older baby monitors
Oh,
and
yep.
wireless security cameras are known to transmit on frequencies that nearby receivers can accidentally pick up. And while that alone doesn't explain every technical detail of Cody's recording, there are real cases where this exact kind of stray signal ended up exposing something deeply disturbing happening inside a private home. For instance, in February 2004, a man in Milwaukee installed a wireless security camera in his home. But while he was flipping between his own cameras, his receiver accidentally picked up a signal from someone else's house. On the screen, he could see two young girls standing with their arms raised above their heads while a woman in the room appeared to be hitting them. When the man contacted law enforcement, police confirmed that his receiver was likely picking up a cross signal from another camera within a radius of about 75 to 150 feet. Similarly, in another case from the Czech Republic in 2007, a father was watching his own baby through a video monitor when the device suddenly picked up a stray signal from another home nearby. It
That's
showed
fucking
a
scary.
young boy tied
What
up
is
on
that?
the bare floor of a room. After the father reported what he saw,
The
police
fuck
traced
was
the
that?
signal to a house in the neighborhood where the child was found bound with the reported why. It showed
How could you even tell that's a young boy's hide?
a young boy tied up on the bare floor of a room.
I see stairs, but
After the father reported
I don't know
what
how
he
they made
saw,
that up.
police traced the signal to a house in the neighborhood where the child was found bound with duct tape, severely dehydrated, and being watched
Holy
over
shit.
by a video camera. So, with cases like these on record, the idea that Cody's radio caught a stray feed from a monitor or a camera
What are y'all doing in
somewhere
that
nearby
situation?
isn't easy to dismiss. And if that's what happened, then what he was listening to
Oh,
might
that's
have
his
been an
hair.
act of domestic violence, or something much worse, playing out in real time. Unfortunately, without the original broadcast ever being identified, the mystery can't move past speculation. All we really have is a short 2-minute recording of an old radio in a quiet security office. And unless that source is ever found, we may never know whether Cody captured a piece of fiction or something far more real that was never meant to be heard.
that has to be real if you caught it on a baby monitor.
On May 1st, 1995, a University of Arizona
That was fast
student
as
named
fuck. What the
Brian
hell?
Hance was flipping through the campus newspaper, the Arizona Daily Wildcat, when a strange full-page message on page 16 caught his attention. The page was filled with mathematical symbols, scientific notations, and historical references, including an image of Martin Luther surrounded by formulas and cryptic diagrams. At the top, it carried a simple title, May Day 1995. At first, Brian didn't think much of it, assuming it was either an invitation to some college fraternity or some secret club. But this assumption would be proven wrong over the next 2 years, because every year a new version of the same kind of message appeared in the paper. The pages blended mathematics, maps, biblical passages,
Chat, y'all think it would be better if I turn off
historical
lights?
figures, scientific diagrams, and fragments written in Latin, Greek, Hebrew, German, and other languages. Some even included musical notation or hand-drawn illustrations. Others referenced philosophers, theologians, and pivotal moments in history. By 1997, Brian was working as the web administrator for the Arizona Daily Wildcat, which gave him access to the paper's entire archive. So he spent days digging through decades of old issues, and what he found unsettled him on two fronts.
What even made him want to go
First,
to that
these
rabbit hole?
cryptic pages weren't new. He found similar messages stretching back years, eventually tracing the mystery back to the early 1980s. Second, despite appearing
Yeah, bro, just get out of that newspaper or whatever joint that you're in.
in the
Go be a
newspaper for
PI, bro.
years,
Go be a
no one
private
at the Daily
investigator.
Wildcat seemed to know who was behind them. The ads were simply delivered through a lawyer, leaving the real author completely anonymous. So, to keep track of everything, Brian created MaydayMystery.org and began archiving every page he could find, hoping that if enough people looked at them together, someone might finally crack what they meant. Digging through the website, you'll find that although every issue brought a different looking puzzle, some elements kept repeating. The first and most obvious was the hand-drawn smiley face, which over the years had become something like a signature
looks like
logo
David.
for the person or
No,
people behind
David.
the mystery. A small, smirking man with two dots for eyes and a sly grin tucked into the corner of page after page. On top of this, Martin Luther also appeared repeatedly, either directly or through references. And so did one particular
There's
word,
now praise for him.
leitmotif. It's a German word that means recurring theme, which is interesting because recurring themes are exactly what these advertisements seem to rely on.
Yep.
At first glance, it's easy to dismiss the archive as the work of a schizophrenic, a theory that
It
has
goes
been
all the way up
debated
to
for years on the
2021,
internet.
maybe even
But
farther.
after combing through dozens of them, there are two reasons why I don't think that theory holds up. For one, the advertisements are incredibly detailed. They pull together mathematics, history, religion, science, multiple languages, maps, and recurring symbols in ways that stay surprisingly consistent over decades. Then there's the money. By 1997 alone, dozens of Mayday advertisements have already been published, and new ones have continued appearing almost every year since the early 1980s, with smaller updates being released in between. A full-page ad in the Wildcat can cost hundreds of dollars each time, which suggests that whoever was behind them had both the financial resources and a long-term commitment to the project. For years, the identity of the people behind these advertisements remained a complete mystery, until Brian finally found the first real lead.
Yes,
It
come on,
wasn't the
let's go,
anonymous
let's go.
author, but the man who had been
Slapping
submitting
in
the
my mouth.
advertisements to the newspaper for years, a Tucson attorney named Robert Truman Hungerford. Brian first learned about
That's an attorney. He look young as
Robert
fuck.
after unexpectedly
Feel like he
receiving
went
an
to
email
school for
from
like
him.
4 years, 8
Robert
years.
confirmed that he acted as the legal representative for the people behind the advertisements. Yet, despite acting as the middleman, he consistently refused to reveal who his clients actually were. And from that point on, Brian's investigation became part of the mystery itself. He began receiving carefully scripted phone calls, cryptic mail, and
Oh,
packages
they're onto him.
postmarked from Las Vegas
They're onto
and
him.
routed through Pakistan, some containing foreign stamps and Middle Eastern coins. After he fell behind on website updates because he was sick, he even received a get well card. None of these messages were openly
From your
threatening,
friends.
but they made one thing
Make it well.
clear. Whoever was behind the Mayday mystery knew exactly who Brian was, and they were paying attention to his investigation. And this naturally shifted all the focus towards Robert, because he wasn't a random attorney. He had studied at the
Excuse me.
University of Arizona, earned a doctorate in theology, became a member of Mensa, the highest IQ society in the world, and reportedly spoke several languages, including Dutch, German, Greek, Hebrew, Latin, Russian, and Spanish. So, when you compare his background to the advertisements, with their theological references, historical figures, and multilingual fragments, it becomes easy to understand why people began to suspect he was more than just the lawyer. There's one more detail that makes the connection a lot stronger. If you pull up Robert's old University of Arizona yearbook photo, he appears to have close cropped hair, the eyebrows running almost straight across, and a faint smile, all of which looks exactly like the
Holy
really smirking
fuck.
man at the bottom
He's
of the
onto
pages.
something.
However, he has repeatedly denied being the sole creator. Instead, he claims he was representing an organization known as the Orphanage. In interviews over the years, he described
How do they
the
call
Mayday
it the
mystery
Orphanage?
as a work of art, while also
Oh.
suggesting there was a real society behind it who dealt with future events. He also insisted that everything needed to understand the mystery is already publicly available on Brian's website, encouraging people to pay particular attention to its theological themes. But if the orphanage is real, no one has been able to prove who they are. Over the years, theories have ranged from a political activist group with roots in the Vietnam War era, to an alternate reality game, to a massive work of conceptual art designed to reward only the most obsessive investigators. Yet, none of these theories explain every piece of the mystery. And it's not because people haven't tried over the decades. One young woman once drove from Phoenix to meet Brian at a cafe in downtown Tucson, carrying a thick binder of research. She believed the Mayday mystery was connected to the Zodiac Killer, comparing symbols from the ad with ciphers and envelopes linked to the case.
They never caught the Zodiac
Brian
Killer.
heard her
Did they
out, but
chat?
told her he didn't think that was it. And before she left, she told him she had already sent everything to the FBI. But not every theory was that far-reaching. One of the most interesting clues came from an anonymous contributor on Brian's website who used the name Near a Terminal. Unlike most people, this person seemed to understand how at least part of the puzzle worked. For one of the earlier ads from the 1980s, the person pointed out that if you counted the brushstrokes in the Chinese characters, you got 24, and if you counted the letters in the English word above them, Richmond, you got 8. Put them together and you get 8/24, or August
That just sounds like a whole lot of bullshit.
24th.
That's just like
Sure
someone who
enough,
got
the
too much
next
time
ad
on
in the
hands.
series had appeared on August 24th.
Oh shit,
However,
he was
it
onto
remains
something.
as one of the only times anyone has ever produced a clean, verifiable decode of any part of the mystery.
How do you even figure
Brian
that
became
out?
Convinced that Near a Terminal was somehow connected to
Some people
the
are just made
orphanage.
differently.
However, even that breakthrough only cracked one tiny piece of one ad out of hundreds.
So I wonder
And
what would
that
happen
is
if
what
they were
makes
to
the
break
Mayday
it.
mystery so unsettling. Every time one part begins to make sense, the larger picture becomes even harder to see. On one occasion, Robert claimed that the mystery went back even further than the newspaper ads. According to him, the first message existed long before 1981, but in a different medium. He refused to say what that medium was, only explaining that the earlier messages were designed so that someone would have to be inside the group to even recognize them, which means Brian's site may not even contain the complete archive of these puzzles. Nonetheless, for nearly 3 decades, Brian preserved the ads, letters, and any clues connected to the mystery. But even after all this, he never came even close to understanding what the messages actually meant. After more than 40 years, countless investigators, and hundreds of theories, the Mayday mystery remains unsolved. On September 12, 2008, a 49-year-old Delta Airlines
what the
employee
fuck was
named
that?
Charles Peck was on his way to Los Angeles for a job interview. The interview was at Van Nuys Airport, and if he got the job, it would finally allow him to move to California and marry his fiancée, Andrea Katz, who had been waiting for him in Westlake Village. But
Oh, she definitely going.
unfortunately, he never managed to reach the station. Instead, he became part of a tragedy whose mystery remains unresolved to this day. At around 4:22
happened?
that afternoon, the Metrolink train he was riding collided head-on with a Union Pacific freight train near Chatsworth, California. It was later found that the Metrolink engineer had run the red signal because he was distracted by his phone, texting just seconds before the impact.
Those phones will
which led
get
to
you, especially
25
while
people
driving.
losing their lives, and Charles was one of them. While that was tragic on its own, what happened afterwards is the reason Charles Peck's story would continue circulating online years after the disaster. Andrea was driving to pick him up from the Moore Park station when she heard the news of the crash on the radio. She rushed to the scene, and Charles's family soon joined her, hoping he still might be somewhere inside the wreckage. And then, a few hours after the collision, they got their first sign of hope. Charles's son received a call. It was from his father's phone. Over the course of that night, Charles's phone reportedly called his son, his brother, his sister, his stepmother, and Andrea. In total, his family received around 35 calls from his number. But
What?
every single time they answered, there was nothing on the other end. Just silence or a wash of static before the line went dead seconds later.
But he was
And
confirmed
because
dead, right?
rescuers were still searching through the
He was
scene,
confirmed
the
DOA?
calls gave the family hope that Charles was still alive, just trapped somewhere in the wreckage. But roughly
Okay,
an
s-
hour after the last call, rescuers finally located Charles's body deep inside the first train after tracing him using the
Oh
signal
yeah, he's
from his
definitely
phone.
DOA. If it
According
was
to
the
the
first
reports
train.
given to his family, he had likely died on impact before any of the calls were ever made.
Then how
However,
did
one
somebody make all
detail
those
didn't add
calls?
up. Rescuers were never able to find his phone anywhere near his body. Now, for a lot of people online, there was only one way to explain that. They claimed Charles was somehow trying to reach his family from the afterlife. But as comforting as that idea may sound, even Charles's fiancée admitted it was something she held on to emotionally, not something she could actually defend. So if we set the afterlife theory aside, we're left with a much harder question. How does a deceased man's phone make 35 calls on its own?
Literally.
The most obvious explanation is a phone malfunction. The incident happened back in 2008 when phones still had physical buttons. So if the device was crushed inside the wreckage, it's possible that pressure, moisture, or damaged circuitry caused it to repeatedly dial numbers from Charles's recent calls or saved contacts. And at first, this theory seems to answer two of the hardest questions at once. It explains how the calls came from Charles's number even though he died on impact, and why nobody could hear anything on the other end. The reason the phone calls eventually stopped could simply be because the phone ran out of battery after switching through the phone book all night long. But the moment you look closely, this theory falls apart on one single detail. A damaged phone firing off signals at random isn't selective about who it calls. It would have hit coworkers, voicemail, or wrong numbers. Instead, every single one of those 35 calls went to a close family member, and not one rang a random contact. Which pushes us toward a second, more disturbing theory. Maybe a survivor trapped inside the same wreckage, too injured to speak, found Charles's phone and scrolled through the recent calls, hitting one number after another, hoping someone would trace it back. But this still leaves two major questions.
But it came from the
unanswered.
park.
First, if a conscious person were calling for rescue, why dial the same 5 relatives 35 times and never once call 911? And if
Yeah.
someone else was using the phone, why was Charles's body the one found after rescuers traced the signal, and to no phone at all? None of these questions disprove the theory, but they do keep it from being a complete answer. There's also a less charitable version of that same idea. Instead of a survivor, maybe someone passing by the wreckage picked up Charles's phone from the debris and started calling his family as a sick, deliberate prank. And out of every theory so far,
That is
this
sick.
is the only one that fully accounts for the missing
You gotta
phone.
have no heart to do
Somebody
that shit.
took it with them. But it doesn't explain the fact that the rescuers located Charles by tracing the signal from his phone directly to him. If someone really took it with them, the signal should have led rescuers somewhere else entirely, not deep inside the first train where Charles's body was found. Which brings us to the most uncomfortable possibility. What if Charles didn't die right away? For that to be true, the coroner would have had to be wrong about the time of death. And at first, that sounds like a stretch. But it becomes a little less far-fetched when you learn that the officials handling this case had already made at least one documented error involving Charles. In the initial victim list that was released, Charles was listed as 58 years old, nearly 9 years off his actual age. Now,
He was
the mistake was shortly corrected, and
49?
on its own, it isn't enough to prove that the coroner was wrong about when Charles died. But it does remind us that the public version of events was assembled in the middle of a chaotic, mass casualty disaster where rescuers were trying to save lives, identify bodies, and communicate with grieving families all at the same time. And without Charles's phone ever being recovered, there is no way to know which theory is correct.
Okay, chat. That was disturbing internet mysteries. The one that got me the most, like, creeped out was the one where he was using the radio. You heard that lady screaming, saying Jake, arguing with some guy named Jake. That shit creeped me the fuck out. Like, literally, what the fuck was that? But this last one, it didn't make sense either because they said that they were getting calls from a place called the Park. But they didn't go into detail anymore about it. But that was Chilling Scared, Disturbing Internet Mysteries. Pretty good video. Good fucking video. Good way to start off the segment.